Long after the credits roll, some stories refuse to leave us. For me, it was the movie The Power of One, when the young boy PK and the greatest Zulu medicine man in Africa visited him in his dreams. Not to rescue him, but to lead him quietly and deliberately into the very unknown his body was screaming to avoid. And suddenly, in that moment, a large bull elephant explodes into motion onto the screen. Charging towards him, the ground trembles, the air tightens, and you can see the exact moment PK's world collapses into terror. His eyes widen, his body locks, and every instinct tells him, run. Because this is what fear looks like. It does not whisper. It overwhelms your whole body. But something extraordinary unfolded in that moment. PK does not flee. He stands in his own power, present and powerful, trusting something deeper than logic, trusting the process he does not understand yet. And then, with his trembling hand, he reaches out, not in force, not in defiance, but in surrender. And the impossible occurs where the elephant, moments ago, embodied a pure threat. And suddenly the elephant slowed, softening, and gently curls its trunk around PK's hand. Nothing to conquer, only something to understand. And the utter relief on PK's face was evident and raw. It needed no words. For years I didn't understand why that scene resonated with me so deeply. But life has a way of quietly explaining things to us, because I would later find myself standing in my own version of that moment, not in the African wilderness, but in our home with my son. It didn't look dramatic from the outside. There was no charging elephant, no cinematic music, or definitely no wise mentor standing nearby. Just a small domestic moment that escalated. A behaviour I thought I understood. Then in a split second, that shift every parent knows but cannot always name. Where patience evaporates, where logic disappears and something primitive takes over. And before I even realised what was happening, I had my hands around my son's throat, pinning him up against the wall. And even now, saying those words out loud, I can feel how confronting they are, because that was not who I was. That was not the mother I believed myself to be. But in that moment, I was no longer operating from thought. I was operating from overwhelm, from the same survival state I had once watched on a terrified boy's face in a film called The Power of One. Except this time, there was no audience, only shock, only the unbearable weight of how did we get here. That moment changed everything for me. Not because of what my son had done, but because of what it revealed about how quickly the human brain can go offline and how invisible that process truly is while it's happening. And sometime later, I witnessed another version of the same invisible struggle. Not in my home, not in a film, but in the most ordinary place imaginable. A travel agency. I was planning an overseas holiday, and the owner, a grandmother, looked utterly exhausted. Not busy day tired, but the kind of tired that lives behind the eyes. Parents, you know what I'm talking about. She told me her grandchild refused to sleep through the night. Nothing they tried worked. Everyone was exhausted. And before I left, I casually shared a simple technique she could try. No grand intervention, no dramatic moment. Just a small conversation, and I went on with my day. The next morning the phone rang, but it wasn't the grandmother. It was her assistant, who was also a mother, who was exhausted for an entirely different reason. Her son had just started high school, and instead of settling in and enjoying the milestone experience and advancing his education, he was constantly losing control. A target for the bullies, and with piling up suspensions which caused him to react with frustration and anger towards the bullies, staff, admin and his mum. His hatred for high school was growing bigger and bigger every day. The constant battle to get him to attend school was tiring. Once again, behaviour was the focus. Not truly understanding what sat beneath all of this, I asked a simple question. Is he open to a conversation? If so, let's see what happens. 2 sessions later, everything shifted. Not because we forced compliance, not because we fixed behaviour, but because something deeper changed within him. The bullies left him alone. The fights disappeared. And for the first time, he wasn't reacting to his world. He was now engaging with it. He began asking for what he needed, not demanding, not resisting, but communicating. At one point, he calmly asked his sports coach to talk things through. No conflict, no explanation, no blame, just clarity for all. To a point where his English teacher phoned home and said, "I don't know what's happened, but I don't recognise him anymore. He's so in control." What I'm about to share may sound deceptively simple, but do not underestimate the simple, because when you stop, truly stop, and dare to look through a different lens, you discover something extraordinary. You begin to see that many of the struggles you're facing, like behaviours, resistance, reactions, are not the problem. They are clues, they are solutions you've been chasing. They are often already sitting right in front of you because you hold more power than you realise, just as PK did. The power you've been searching for has been within you the entire time. So here's the real question. Are you ready to look through a different lens? Good. Let's go.